Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to, cut through all the noise and get straight to the insights that help you stay sharp, stay ahead. Today, we're digging into something that's buzzing everywhere, right? AI and jobs. It's probably come up in your work circles. Maybe it's even keeping some of us up at night. The fear is pretty common. AI is coming for my job. But what if that's not quite the real story? What if it's, well, more complex, definitely more urgent, but also actually a huge opportunity? Look, the way we see it and the way our source material lays it out is that it's not really about AI replacing you. It's more about a professional who knows how to use AI replacing one who doesn't. And this isn't some far off future thing. It's happening right now across the whole tech field. To really unpack this, we're diving deep into a super practical guide. It's called the Modern Tech Professionals Learning Stack, a 2025 guide. It's written by Kwon Nguyen, who's the founder of Skill Wanderer. And this guide really aims to, skip the marketing hype. It gives you that no-nonsense look at what actually builds real job-ready skills, which fits perfectly with Skill Wanderer's whole mission, right? Providing unbiased, valuable education.
Okay, yeah, let's definitely unpack this. Our mission today really is to boil down how continuous learning specifically by building what Quan calls a learning stack, how that becomes your superpower in this AI-driven world. We're going to explore why just sticking to one learning platform, it just isn't enough anymore. And crucially, how you can strategically combine different resources to really stay ahead of the curve. And like you said, this guide, it's just the first of an 8-part series from Quan. So it's really setting the stage for some deep insights into navigating this, well, new professional landscape.
Absolutely. So let's tackle that AI replacement idea head on. The myth versus the reality that Kwan lays out so clearly. His core point, coming straight from the Skill Wanderer guide, is emphatic. AI won't replace you. But someone using AI effectively, yeah, they will replace someone who isn't. Think about it in concrete terms. Developers, right? They're using tools like GitHub Copilot. They're generating code snippets, maybe even whole chunks of projects way faster than before. Project managers, they're bringing in AI for forecasting, for resource allocation, getting predictive insights that were honestly impossible just a few years ago. And business analysts, they're using AI to pull much deeper insights from massive amounts of data, moving beyond just reporting the raw numbers to actually generating strategic insights. And this isn't just like a gut feeling. Quan points to the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report. And frankly, it's pretty stark. It predicts that, get this, 44% of core job skills are going to be disrupted in just the next 5 years.
Wow, 44%.
Yeah. Almost half of what we think of as essential skills today. They're either going to change dramatically or just become obsolete. So the need to upskill, it's not just a nice to have, it's become absolutely essential, universal, urgent, really, for every single role in tech.
What's really interesting there is how Kwan's own background,
Yeah.
across development, project management, and business analysis, gives him this really broad, holistic view. He sees that this need to upskill isn't just for the coders, or the IT specialists. It's a fundamental shift impacting the entire tech landscape. And that really highlights why Skill Wanderer focuses so much on practical skills for everyone on a tech team, whatever their specific job title is. And connecting this back, it just means the whole idea of relying on one learning source or, getting a degree and being done, that era is just over. This continuous sort of multi-platform learning, this learning stack we're talking about, it's not a luxury. It's the baseline now. It's the new reality.
Okay, so let's really dig into that learning stack. Because it's the absolute core of this guide, and honestly, it's essential for anyone trying to navigate this new professional world. Kwan uses this great analogy comparing it to a developer's tech stack, which is perfect, right? Just like a developer needs, I don't know, a mix of languages, frameworks, databases to build something solid. You, as a modern tech pro, you need a mix of learning platforms to build a really robust skill set. So why is relying on just one platform? Well, basically setting yourself up for failure. Kwan puts it brilliantly. It's like a project manager insisting on using the exact same rigid waterfall method for every single project. That old school sequential approach?
Right. Totally inflexible.
Exactly. It's inefficient. It just plain won't work when things are dynamic. And here's where it gets really interesting. The guide gives 3 solid reasons why this multi-platform approach isn't just optional, it's non-negotiable for 2025.
Okay, reason number 1. The sheer speed of technological whiplash. I mean, our industry reinvents itself constantly, doesn't it? New analytics tools pop up, new project management frameworks like, maybe a new way to scale agile for massive projects, new cloud services. It's relentless. And no single platform, with its own content creation timelines and priorities, can possibly keep up with everything. It just can't. So a learning stack, that's what gives you agility. You could have, say, a PM grabbing a quick, affordable Udemy course on that brand new agile scaling method, while at the same time, a developer on their team is maybe using Pluralsight to really nail down the cloud architecture that supports it. You adapt almost in real time.
And that agility, that ability to just grab a new skill quickly when you need it, that ties right into the second big win of having a learning stack. It's how you build what people call T-shaped professionals. And honestly, T-shaped teams, modern tech companies love this. So a T-shaped person. They've got deep expertise in one main area, that's the vertical part of the T. Maybe for a developer, it's their main language, like Python or Java. For a PM, maybe it's deep knowledge of risk management. For a BA, perhaps requirements elicitation. But just as vital is that horizontal bar of the T. That's having broad functional knowledge across lots of other related areas. And that breadth, that's what makes you a fantastic collaborator. It helps break down those awful silos between teams. It means a developer actually gets the project timelines. The PM understands the technical hurdles. The BA can talk user needs effectively to both tech and business folks. I remember earlier in my career trying to learn a new framework. I just bought this one massive course, spent weeks grinding through it, only to realize way too late I was missing some basic foundational concept from a totally different domain. Ugh, that's exactly the problem the stack approach fixes. So maybe a BA uses DataCamp to get really good at SQL. That's the language for databases. But at the same time, they use LinkedIn Learning to grasp the basics of the agile process their dev team and PM are always talking about. It's about being both deep and broad.
Exactly. And the third reason is simply matching the tool to the specific task at hand. Because different learning goals, they demand completely different things from a platform. So this whole one-size-fits-all idea, it just falls apart. Let's take some examples from the guide. If your goal is a formal certification like the PMP for project managers, or maybe an AWS cloud certification, we absolutely need structured learning paths, you need expert instructors, and you definitely need good practice exams. Not negotiable. But what if you're trying to master a specific tool? Like, say, Tableau for data viz, or Jira for tracking tasks, or maybe the React framework for building web interfaces. Then you probably want a really focused project-based course, something you can maybe buy outright, own, and refer back to whenever you need it. Or maybe you just need to understand some core concepts, like the principles behind agile development or database theory. For that, you need really high-quality instruction that explains the why, not just clicking the buttons, the how. And then there are soft skills, leadership, communication, negotiation. Crucial stuff.
For those, you want engaging content, probably well-produced videos, maybe from industry experts you can relate to. So the smart professional, they don't just pick one platform and hope for the best. They cherry pick. They find the absolute best platform for the specific skill they need right now.
Okay, so we totally get why a stack is crucial. Now, the fun part, which platforms should you actually be considering for your own personal toolkit? Quan identifies 6 main ones, he calls them the contenders, for your learning stack. And each one has its own sort of personality, its own role to play, really, for anyone on a tech team. Let's just quickly run through them, hitting the main strengths. First, Udemy. Quan calls it the digital supermarket. And that fits, right? Think of it less like a formal school, more like this huge, bustling digital marketplace. Its real superpower is offering these hyper-specific, sometimes incredibly up-to-the-minute courses on niche tools or brand new frameworks. And often, the price is so low, it's a no-brainer just to try something out. Test the waters on a new skill before committing more time or money. Even if, yeah, sometimes you find courses that are maybe a bit longer than they need to be.
Happens, yeah.
Okay, then you've got Pluralsight, which now includes a cloud guru. This is positioned as the professional's gym. This isn't just, another site with tech videos. It's really aimed at the professional engineer, the architect, someone needing deep enterprise-level technical skills. Its strength is offering these structured, expert-led paths that kind of mirror how you'd learn on a real complex project, though it's library for non-coding skills. Maybe not quite as extensive as some others. Then, for a wider view, there's LinkedIn Learning. Think of this as the corporate trainer. It really shines for overall career development, business skills, soft skills, that kind of thing. It's like having your company's training department available on demand, making you a more well-rounded professional. But the deep technical stuff might not always go as deep as the more specialized platforms. Moving into the specialists, DataCamp. This is the interactive data lab. It's totally laser-focused on data skills. SQL, Python for data science, R. Its big win is the interactive learn-by-doing approach. It's fantastic for getting your hands dirty, actually writing the code, manipulating data.
Really good for that muscle memory.
Exactly. Though maybe the deep underlying theory isn't quite as emphasized as you'd find in, say, a university course. Which brings us to Coursera. the digital university. Its core strength is connecting you to courses, specializations, even full certificates from top universities and major companies like Google or IBM. So if you're after a formal, recognized credential to really boost your resume, Coursera is often the place to look, even if, yeah, it tends to be the most expensive option generally, and you might need to supplement it sometimes for a really complete picture. And finally, Codecademy, the coding sandbox. Its whole identity is built around this interactive environment that gets you writing code literally from minute one. It's brilliant for absolute beginners who need that immediate feedback, that hands-on feeling right away. But that hand-holding approach, it can feel a bit too basic for developers who already have experience, or maybe even for non-coders just looking for conceptual understanding.
And it's probably worth a quick note, just
Yeah.
to be clear. There are other great platforms out there like Udacity or ADX, but Quan intentionally left them out of this core comparison in the guide. Why? Mostly cost. They often run from several $100s up to, well, thousands. That puts them more in the bootcamp category, a different kind of investment. So this guide, in our discussion here, is really focused on those more accessible platforms you'd use for your regular ongoing learning stack.
Right. So we've met the contenders. Now, this is where it gets really practical, the aha moments. How do you actually combine these platforms effectively? Quan shares his own battle-tested combinations for different learning goals, and it really shows the power of using each platform for what it does best. So looking at how Quan pieces these together, what jumps out at you? Maybe a combination that seems counterintuitive at first, or a synergy that's surprisingly powerful.
Yeah, what really stands out is exactly that, the strategic synergy. It's not just random, it's purposeful. It really drives home how these different platforms fill very specific gaps. And together, they create a learning experience that's just way more effective than any single service could ever be on its own. Honestly, it makes you think back. How much smoother could our own learning journeys have been if we'd approached it this way earlier? Combining resources like this. Let's walk through a few concrete examples Quan gives. Okay, so your goal is mastering data skills. Maybe you're a business analyst or moving into data science. Quan suggests starting with Coursera as your primary source for theory. You'd pick a well-regarded specialization, maybe the Google Data Analytics one or the IBM Data Science certificate. That builds your core concepts, your methodology. But then for secondary practice, you layer in DataCamp. So as you're learning the theory on Coursera, you jump over to DataCamp for those interactive exercises. You build the hands-on muscle memory with Python, Pandas, SQL. The two just work together perfectly, bridging that gap between knowing the theory and actually being able to do it.
Or let's say you need to deepen your cloud knowledge, maybe for developer role or heading towards architecture. Again, Quan often points to Coursera first for the primary theory. Use their courses to get a solid grasp of AWS or Azure, the core services, the architectural thinking. But then for practice, you absolutely need hands-on. So for secondary practice, you go to Pluralsight's A Cloud Guru Labs. There's really no replacement for practicing in a real safe sandboxed cloud environment. It preps you for certifications, sure, but more importantly for actual real-world tasks. It's like, flight simulator time before flying the plane. What about learning a new programming language or framework? This is where Quan shows a real multi-step journey. You might start with Codecademy, maybe just for a few hours. Get the basic syntax down quickly, interactively, just get a feel for it. Super low commitment. Then, for more structure and the deeper why, he'd move to Pluralsight. Find a proper learning path there to understand the concepts, the common patterns, the best practices. Next, for practical application, buy a well-rated project-based course on Udemy. Build something real end-to-end.
That really solidifies things. And then maybe as a final polish, he might even check LinkedIn Learning for adjacent skills, like a course on communicating technical designs. Because just knowing the code isn't enough, you have to be able to explain it, right? And one more, if your goal is mastering project management or BA skills, you'd likely start with Coursera again for that primary structure, and maybe a formal certificate, like the Google PM or IBM BA ones. That gives you a strong foundation. But then, for secondary breadth and those crucial soft skills, you leverage LinkedIn Learning. While Coursera gives the core framework, LinkedIn Learning lets you fill in the gaps. Find courses on stakeholder management, negotiation, different flavors of Agile, all the things that make you a more well-rounded, effective leader or analyst. These combinations really show it, don't they? Using each platform's strength makes the whole learning process far better than sticking to just one.
They really do. These examples make the whole concept so tangible, it just hammers home that core message, doesn't it? Trying to find the single best learning platform. It's kind of a fool's errand. It doesn't exist. The real goal for any of us in tech dev, PM, BA, doesn't matter, is building your own personal learning stack. One that's powerful, flexible, and actually cost-effective. By knowing what each platform is uniquely good at, you can pick the right tool for the right learning job every single time. So this deep dive has given you that, 30,000-foot view of the strategy. Kwan Nguyen's guide, which really reflects that skill wanderer commitment to practical, unbiased advice, it really lays out the map for your own skill wandering adventure, as they put it. And the guide promises the next step is getting down on the ground level with deep dives into each platform individually, starting, I believe, with a full review of Udemy.
Yeah. So thinking about everything we've discussed, especially that rapid disruption, maybe here's a thought for you to chew on. What single skill, if you really mastered it over the next 6 months using a tailored learning stack, would make the biggest difference, either to your career or maybe even just satisfying your own curiosity day to day? And maybe think about how just starting with 2 complementary platforms, just 2, could accelerate that journey for you. Something to consider.